Bodycore.com, Freddie Sosa with Jordan Smith. Jordan, how you doing today?
Good, how you doing?
Thanks for joining us today, taking time out of your busy schedule. We're here at the legendary Black House Gym, where the likes of Anderson Silva, Antonio Rodrigo, the Nogueira brothers actually, Lyoto Machida, and many more, Jordan himself including, trains here. Jordan, how do you like the facility?
I love this place. They got, state-of-the-art equipment. Everybody's always coming in with new stuff to try and free gear, so I'm down.
Is it a bit intimidating coming here while those guys are here? Anderson, the fighter, Lyoto, the dragon. How do you see yourself when you walk in and you know those guys are legendary? You come in kind of like a young buck.
Yeah.
But how do you handle that? How do you feel about that?
It was a little intimidating at first. Anytime you're supposed to be sparring the best in the world,
absolutely.
You can get your heart rate up a little bit, but they're the nicest guys in the world too. And you just become part of the family really. Once you're part of the fight team, we're all black guys, so you get used to the fact that you're sparring with the best in the world and shrug it off and just do your best.
Jordan is currently 14-0. Jordan, how have most of those fights gone? Obviously by wins, but submissions.
Yeah, I only have one decision. All the other ones have been finished. Most of them finished in the first round. I have it's about even. I've got even amount of TKOs and submissions. So.
Now you're currently living in Los Angeles. You're from the Salt Lake area, correct?
Yeah, I'm actually living in Utah right now. I have a house in Clearfield, which is just north of Salt Lake. Okay. And I travel down here for my fight camp so I can get ready.
Absolutely. I have a question for you, Jordan. A lot of fighters say that they allow their trainer to study tape. You just focus on the training. How do you feel about that? Do you like to know about your opponent, or do you like your trainer to handle that aspect and you go into the fight based off of what your trainers kind of sharpen your skills around? Or do you like to know exactly what you're getting yourself into?
We do kind of both. My trainer will watch it and I'll watch it. We watch all the tape we can get of the opponent, and he'll tell me what he sees and I'll tell him what I see, and that's what we'll focus on during the training. If he's got tendencies to fake the shot and throw the overhand right, then you got to know that's coming. If he switches stances to throw a head kick, then you got to know that's coming too. So
now you are a fighter that prefers to keep the fight standing, correct?
Yeah.
Why so?
I just feel more comfortable on my feet. I haven't really met and even trained with a lot of guys that have better stand-up than me. Anderson Silva and Lyoto Machida obviously have better stand-up than I do. But everybody I spar, I feel like I could take standing up. And even though I have really good jiu-jitsu and decent wrestling, to me, if I'm watching a fight, what do I want to see? A bunch of guys wrestling around 3 rounds. I want to see somebody, throwing bombs, just duking it out, and punching each other in the face. That's what the fans want to see, so that's what I want to give the fans.
Being undefeated, 14-0, is that any added pressure that you feel more than just the normal? When you step into the cage and knowing, not only am I fighting, every fighter always fights to win.
Right.
But is it even more so because of the zero?
No, because in my mind, in my book, it's not really a zero. Technically, it's still a zero because I got knocked out on The Ultimate Fighter, but it's exhibition on The Ultimate Fighter. So in my book, I've already lost one, so the weight's lifted from my shoulder, even though I don't have to, it's not on my official record.
If you would, for the casual fan, how's that experience? I hate to ask you, but the knockout experience, we want to know for the guys that might just
the get knocked out part, or
just the experience of not waking up and not knowing exactly.
It was crazy. I'd had one experience like that in football before, where I didn't get knocked out. They said I'd become so fatigued that my brain shut off. But when I got knocked out, I woke up. I had walked out of the gym, out of the ring, out of the gym, out of the building. I was standing on Las Vegas on the sidewalk with no shirt on, no shoes on, just my fight gloves and my fight shorts. And I was looking around, and that's when I came to. That's the first part I remember. After I didn't even know what had happened. He'd caught me with a knee that I didn't see coming, and they told me that later. I was standing on the sidewalk and looking around. I go, where am I? I look back, and the camera crew was back at the door, and I'm looking around. I'm like, wait. I look down. I got my gloves on. I'm like, wait, did I fight already? And I started tripping. You're like, what happened? You get scared. It's like a nightmare. You're like waking up from a nightmare. And so I'd been around guys who got knocked out before, and they always walk around and ask people, what happened? What happened, man? And then they forget that they asked Like,
Right.
what happened? So they go ask another person like 2 minutes later. So I just sat out, I stood out there and I was thinking, I made myself remember what I could, you know? So I was like, okay, I remember getting here. I remember training with Chuck Liddell's trainers and getting warmed up. I remember going to the cage, Stitch put the Vaseline on my face and I went in there. And I remember throwing this combo and this and that. And that's the last thing I could remember. So I put it together in my head, so then I went back in and asked them what happened. They said, he caught you with a knee. And for the life of me, he didn't tie clinch me. I didn't see him jump, you know, so I couldn't think of how he could have got me with a knee. And then I got to see it on the television, and it came out of nowhere. We were like in the clinch, and he just brought it up like a cheerleader.
How painful is it to watch yourself in that? Is it just heartbreaking?
Yeah. It's pretty bad.
I can only assume. Who are some guys that you, whose style you may like, who you may take a page out of their book and implement into your own game plan? Who are some people that have inspired you?
Anderson Silva, I already said, was one of my favorites. And watching him, you know, with his unique striking, I would joke around with people in my gym, and just dance around like he kind of does, and do spinning back kicks. And not that I'm even close to his level, but you know, I always try to mimic his kind of things and work the angles that he tries to work. Even if I'm not throwing the weird strikes that he throws, his angles are amazing, you know. So you just gotta learn it from the best is how you get to be the best.
Comparing Anderson and Lyoto, who do you feel is a tougher guy to either grab onto, strike, hit? Whose style would you prefer?
Whose style would I rather be like, or would I rather fight?
Both.
I think I'd rather fight Lyoto, because Anderson, he can hurt you from anywhere. That's what it feels like, you know. And Lyoto, he's hard to hit. I can't say I'd rather. I don't think I'd like to fight either of them. But if I had to choose, I'd pick Lyoto, because he's more of a counter striker.
Right.
You know, and I could probably get in there and get my licks in before he got me back. That kind of thing.
Outside the Black House, you got to pick one guy to protect you through, let's say, a rough neighborhood. One bodyguard you can choose in all of MMA, any organization, any past, present Hall of Famer. One guy to protect Jordan. It's your prom night. You're taking your hot date home. Who do you pick?
I think I'd probably go with Shane Carwin. He's big enough to like intimidate people that he wouldn't have to actually do anything. Right. On top of that, he's not very good looking, so if I'm taking my prom day home, I don't have to worry about him stealing it.
Thank you, Jordan, for your time.
Thank you. This is Jordan Smith speaking for Body Core. Thanks a lot for coming to Black House, guys.